the very first Skycast! Whoa, awesome! So what is Skycast? Well, we have a new group, a new Facebook group, and it's super experimental. It's called Blue Sky. And the reason it's called Blue Sky is because I'm always saying blue sky thinking, blue sky dreaming. What are your blue sky dreams? What are your blue sky goals? And the blue sky is pretty much when you stop worrying about things, you stop having the fear, you imagine what could possibly be possible. It's about allowing yourself to imagine things and think about what you've always wanted to do. What did you want to do when you were a kid? What did you want to make? What would you love to see your name on one day? And we've kind of taken that concept and run with it. We're applying it to the world of private label. And I know there's a lot of preconceived assumptions about private label. You have to order from China, you have to order from Alibaba, you have to invest a huge amount of money to get started in private label, you have to do your research and make sure that what you're selling is already profitable. There are a lot of preconceived assumptions. And I think that there's actually a lot of scope to do private label differently. And not just private label, also self-publishing. I just posted a really cool link in the group about a card game website I found, which I thought was awesome. I know there were some people, I think Rebecca West was looking at doing a card game. And I had an idea too for a very different card game, kind of like a dating game. And I was looking around for card manufacturers in the US, and I found quite a lot, most of them quite expensive. But I did find one that actually does like print on demand card games, which I thought was really interesting because they also came with their own marketplace to sell card games. And I found this interesting on several levels. It was interesting because it's like a niche in itself. Card games is a big thing. And the fact they have a marketplace that you can sell on yourself that targets just to people that like playing card games, I thought was awesome. And I also found it really interesting on a level where I was browsing through the games. And there were so many interesting niches there. There was one called like Zeppelin Wars, which was like a steampunk game. And there was one set in the 1950s in this kind of alternative Korean war where there was like a supercomputer and just all these things that take you imagine. Oh, there was one with World War women air pilots. And there were all these things that just take your brain to another place, like another world and other characters very, very quickly. And what I like about it is you look at things like that and you realize how much possibility there is. It's like if you can make a card game about that, you can make anything. You can put like lady World War II pilots on a t-shirt or on a mug and celebrate feminism or celebrate just how awesome it is being a woman and getting up in the morning and drinking coffee. I mean, it's kind of exciting if you let your brain just like follow the paths. You find a niche or you find something that kind of sets that little creative imagination spark going off. You can go anywhere with that. You can make magnets or stickers, or you can make pencil cases or boxes or lunch boxes, or just look around your house. Like pretty much any product you can find, you can make it niche in some way. You can find an audience you can target with it. And I think there's a really exciting, untapped world of private label out there. And that's kind of the angle I want to take with Blue Sky. I have no problem if you want to go with China, you want to go with private label through like Alibaba and ordering from overseas. Cost-wise, that can make sense. Cost-wise, there's a lot of very cheap ways of doing things that way. But when you're getting started, experimenting with US manufacturers it's an option. And I've been browsing a lot, and I've been collecting resources of like all kinds of US private label manufacturers, everything from like pet dishes and bowls to Christmas ornaments to t-shirts to, like, you would not believe the amount of things you can private label just within the US. It's really exciting. So I've been doing that. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Maybe put it on Blue Sky's website or make a directory or something. I don't know. But what I'm going to do today, my plans today are to talk about the coffee. I'm not going to try and sell you coffee. You know it's coffee. You know it's, if you've tried it, you know it's good coffee. I'm not trying to sell you coffee. This is not a webinar where I upsell you on please buy my coffee. Instead, this is kind of a case study. So I'm going to go through the process and just how I did it from start to finish. And I've got some of the paperwork on my screen, so I can screen share that with you. And so we can be quite transparent about what it cost, how I did it, and what happened, and the process I had to go through. So we're going to talk about coffee. I'm kind of happy to talk about, answer any questions. I'm not looking at chat too much because I will get distracted if I start reading the chat a lot. But maybe towards the end, I will try and answer your questions. So perhaps if you could save your questions to the end or send them to Isaac, that would be really cool, because otherwise I'm trying to stay focused, because some of my Zooms I get a bit excited and I start answering questions and talking and I go all over the place. So I'm going to try and stay focused on this today. So let's talk about coffee. First of all, it's kind of relevant, but the reason I did coffee is because I really like coffee. I talk about coffee all the time. I drink a lot of coffee. Jeff knows. I know Jeff Davidson's in the chat, and he's seen me show up at yard sales, and I always had a Starbucks in my hand. I always had a cup in my hand. It's kind of like a joke, and I guess it's kind of like, I hate saying my personal brand because that's so wanky, and I don't really have a personal brand because I'm not really actually like selling anything. There's kind of like multi-levels going on with what I'm doing. I mean, I guess in some ways what I do markets me as a person, and I guess at some level my blue sky dream involves more speaking, more coaching, more media, just because I've always liked doing that. I kind of came from like a theatre background, a media background, and I've always liked doing that. So that's kind of part of my blue sky dreaming. So a lot of things I do, some of it is towards my kind of thing. A lot of it's towards treasure hunting because I love that group and I want to keep building the group. And I love, and I think the thing that's very important to me with treasure hunting is the sense of community. And it was interesting, Isaac kind of talked to me about that. He was like, you don't see your group as your audience. And a lot of marketers talk about building their audience. He said treasure hunting's a community, and the difference is that a community is very interactive. And I really like that. I feel that we changed the banner on treasure hunting this week because I kind of got sick of my face there. I wanted it to be more about the community and the group, and we changed it and put it back with the bolo rings, and I have to say I am a lot happier with the header as it is at the moment, and I think that's a really important thing, and community is something that's going to become kind of a theme, I think, in Blue Sky, because I think community is part of your brand. I have a very good friend who they have a perfume company, and it was all grown on LiveJournal through a sense of community. It kind of grew up in the 90s, or the late 90s, the early 2000s, and it very much grew out of LiveJournal and social media, and it grew out of people swapping the perfumes and talking about them, and it was very much a community-driven thing. And I was really, really inspired watching how that happened. So community, to me, I think is a very important part of marketing. And I think it's a tool that is really underused. I think it's really cool if a product can grow out of a community. And I think that's something that I'll probably revisit as Blue Sky grows and develops, is how you build a community around your brand. And I think there's a lot of scope for that. That if you want to make coffee, have a coffee community where you like talk about all kinds of coffee, not just your coffee, but maybe review coffee shops. Or anyway, that's kind of a tangent, but that is something I'm going to touch on as the group and as the program develops. So this particular Zoom, we're going to talk about the coffee. So I said that's kind of how we got started with it. That I was like, what's relevant to my community? What's relevant to me? Coffee. Okay. So I started looking, and I could have probably gone in different directions with what's the first product I want to make. I could have probably made like an FBA kit. I could have private labeled labels, or put together like envelopes or bubble wrap, or actually that would be cool, bubble wraps and labels and a scanner. I mean, there's this fine line of sort of bundles and private label, but I really wanted a product. I mean, something like Scotty peelers would be a great thing to sort of private label, something really simple and small like that. But I decided on coffee. I like coffee. I wanted coffee. And also there's a lot of fear around food and drink and products of that nature. So I just wanted to see if it could be done. And I was browsing. So I started with Google. That's all I did. I started with Google. Sorry, it's a little hot in here, so I might be a bit like flustered. But I started with Google, and I searched for private label coffee manufacturers in the US. Very clear that I wanted to look in the US. And actually, it's kind of interesting because I've had people ask if it's local, and tell me about local coffee roasters, which is kind of an interesting avenue I didn't think of going down. But actually now, I think if I was doing it again and starting from scratch, I might consider actually talking to local roasters, because I know there's at least 2 or 3 significant local roasters in San Diego. So that's a different path I might take if I was starting from scratch all over again. But what I did, I went on Google and I searched just private label coffee US. And I looked through a few of them, and the one that caught my eye was called Paramount. They were called Paramount Coffee Company, and they're in Lansing, Michigan. Lansing, Michigan. I had to think what MI is there, because I'm in a foreign country sometimes. So sometimes I have to think on the states. So they're in Lansing, Michigan, and I found their website. And I sent them let me see if I can bring up their website. Actually, I'm going to do some screen sharing as we go along. Where's my Chrome? Let me open it up. Okay. And I sent them an email. So let me bring up their website. Oh, I'll tell you what appealed to me about them, first of all. I'm going to screen share this. Okay, you should be able to see my browser now. So this is their website for Paramount Coffee. And there were a few things that really, really appealed to me about them. One thing was interesting. This Joe coffee down here, I actually saw that in Marshall's a couple of weeks ago. Actually, longer than that, a couple of months ago. It's probably around February, March, I saw it. And I saw the Joe coffee in Marshall's, and I think it had a decent rank and it had a decent price. And I was like, oh, they manufactured that. And I looked at it and I really liked the packaging on it. I liked everything about it. I thought it was I'd remembered seeing it and I thought it was a really cool looking coffee. Another thing that I really liked about it, they're super ethical. So they work with Rwandan farmers, they work in war-torn areas, and they have a very ethical ethos to them, and that to me was really important. I didn't want to I didn't want crappy coffee. Like, I really didn't want crappy coffee. I wanted it. I wanted to feel good about a product, and be happy about what I was doing with that. So that was another thing that appealed to me about it. So I looked through it a bit, and let me have a look. They had Okay, so they have services, private label. And it's kind of interesting. If you look at a lot of manufacturers, a lot of them just have this, a private label program. And they all handle it differently. I've been looking at a lot of US manufacturers, and they all handle it kind of differently. Some of them will do small amounts. They'll do it for weddings or a corporate gift or something like that. They'll do they'll do small runs. Others, it's kind of a big thing, and they want to do bigger runs, and you just have to send emails. You just have to talk to people. Either pick up the phone and talk to them, or send emails. So what I did, I sent them an email. I think there was a contact in here somewhere. I read through their website, and I was really impressed with it. I really liked how it looked. I really liked everything about it. And I just sent them an email. I went to contact. I don't know. I emailed them. And I got talking to a lady there called Cara. And let me stop the screen share, and I'm going to find the email and see what I said to her. We might overrun a little bit further than an hour, but hopefully that's okay. So I'm just finding the email that I initially sent to Cara. And this was back in March. So I emailed her, and let me see if I can find the first email I sent her. Okay. I can't find the first one. There we go. I think I just said, hello, I'm very interested in your private label coffee, and I'm wondering if you can send me more information. I can't find the exact, oh wait, it'll be my sent email. There we go. I'll find it. Hold on. Paramount Coffee. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. Oh, okay. Oh, here we go. This is what I sent. It was really simple. I said, hello, would you be able to advise me about private labeling your coffee? I would be very interested in branding coffee to sell to my Facebook group and on my website. Could you let me know what the minimum order would be and what the costs would be like? I do have a logo and a graphic designer I work with. I would be particularly interested in organic and or fair trade ground coffee. Thank you so much, Katharyne Shelton. That was it. That was what I sent them. And they sent me back a really nice reply and said, welcome. They set me up with an automatic account in their business to business store. And they sent me a welcome message saying, yes, can you give me more information about what you would like to do? This is what she said. Hi, Katharyne. Thank you for your interest in Paramount Coffee. I was hoping to learn a bit more about what you're looking for in a coffee program, specifically to help guide you. Attached, you will find our private label program. So let me share this because I have all this here. Which indicates minimums and label designs and a specialty coffee list. Hey, cool. So let me share the specialty coffee list with you. Does that show up? You should be seeing a list of coffees that they have. This was really cool. I got to look through this, and I wanted something that went with my brand. So I said, I talked to her a bit, and I said, well, I really want an organic fair trade coffee. That's really important to me, that it's organic, it's fair trade. And then we came up with a breakfast blend. And we decided that was the way to go, was to do a breakfast blend, because we have the idea of going to yard sales in the morning. We thought that really fit with the whole idea of getting up early, going to a yard sale, going treasure hunting. And that was kind of the gist we wanted to go with, was find treasure every morning. But how cool is this? I mean, you have all of these options here. And there's really so much you could do with this. Melinda's saying, wow, that's some list. And if you think about it, you could have your own product line of coffee with this. I mean, look at all the coffee cake, frangelica, like creme brulee, fudge, coconut. I think you could do something really cool with this. You could just buy, say, coconut coffee and do like tiki blend or something like that's really giftable, really targeted. As I say, it's all about the niches. So that was what they sent me with the coffee list. And they also sent me this. Let me show this to you. This is their private label program. So this had the minimum order. So they said that the minimum, you have to order 72 bags of the 12-ounce or 80 units of the 10-ounce bags. So my thinking, I went with the 10-ounce bags because I thought I could sell them first class. I could ship them first class. I was worried with 12-ounce that it would go over the shipping limit. And it worked out well because I could ship them with the bolo rings. So the little bolo rings that I picked up from the dollar store, I kind of sent those out to some people as I had them. Not everyone got them, but people got them as a freebie. So it worked out really well. I bought 80 units from them. And they had, this is how you do it. You pick a color. So Isaac already had a kind of color scheme in mind. He wanted to go with purple, and we like purple and gold. So we picked the purple that you can see on the screen there, and we came up with the purple bags. We said, we'll do the labels ourselves. They offered to apply labels. They said that they could do the labels for us, or we could apply our own labels. So we decided to do our own. So that was where we got to with that. Let me just have a look because I've got the. So the next step was, how much is this going to cost? And oh my gosh, have I lost the price list? I think the price list was. Gosh, I've lost the price list. They also sent me a price list for the coffee. The fair trade organic was the most expensive, but I wanted to go with it for this, because I felt it was really important that I had that as part of my brand. So I picked that, even though that was the most expensive. And let me just do the maths on this 1 second. Okay, so it was $7 a bag. It was $7.05 a bag for a 10-ounce bag of fair trade organic coffee. So here is the, let me bring it up here. This is what they sent me. Once I was ready to go with it, let me do a share screen. Okay, are you seeing the customer application form? Did I share that right? I think I did. You should be seeing the customer application form. And they sent me this, and it was super simple to fill out. I just put $540. Product is the fair trade organic breakfast coffee, 10-ounce bags. I want 80 bags of it. Tell them what type of business. They are super happy about selling it online. They're not worried about selling it on Amazon. And what you'll probably find with private label, they don't care so much about selling it on Amazon. A lot of wholesalers with branded products, some of them are funny about selling on Amazon or eBay, mainly because they are selling themselves. They're selling their own things, and they don't want you selling against them or dropping the price or trashing the price. But the difference with this is your own product. And if you have your own product, you're not really competing against anyone else. So they don't care. They're perfectly happy about this. Helene says, what did I tick as my option? I don't think I ticked any of them. I think I said, let me see. I didn't cut and paste that bit. I think I left it blank, and I just told her what I was doing, and she was fine with it. And I think the important thing with it was that I just stayed in contact with her. And she answered all my questions. I said, what about this tax exempt? Do I need to do anything with that? And she said, no, you only need to do it if you're in these states. And she really answered all my questions. She was like super helpful about all my questions. I'm having a look at the emails now to see if there was anything else interesting that I can share that we talked about, because we had a few sort of back and forth conversations about the coffee. What did I ask her? I'm looking at what I asked her. She answered my questions about the labels. Oh, and I was concerned. So okay, let's talk about insurance, because Bob's asking about insurance. This is a good question, and this is one of the roadblocks. And I asked her about this. I said, are you listed as the manufacturer? Am I covered by regular retail insurance if I resell these? She said to me, we are certainly responsible for the item until they have left the warehouse. Your regular retail insurance would cover the resale, as we would be the manufacturer. So they are taking responsibility. And what they do, let me show you this. Look, if you look at the bottom of the coffee, if I got it upside down, oops, they are actually listed as the manufacturer on the bottom of the coffee. So they are the manufacturer. So they take responsibility for the product. You don't need manufacturing insurance. So that is the key, guys. If you ordered this, so here's the problem. I mean, if you ordered this from like China, it would be very risky. It would be very high liability. It would be a big problem. If you brewed it in your back garden, if you made it yourself, you can't do that. Here's the problem. If you, with any food product, it has to go through the FDA. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to brew coffee and sell it on Amazon. You can't, it's like you can't. Bob, is there a difference between branded, private label? As far as I can see, they're just sort of terminology for the same thing. But I'm happy if you want to kind of explain the difference. But yeah, I don't know whether Bob can explain that. Okay, I'm reading a lot of these. You know, here's the thing with insurance. You can get sued at any point. And I'm not an insurer, I'm not a legal expert, I'm not a financial expert. But if you sell anything online, you have the potential to get sued. I mean, if I sell this Scotch tape online and a child sticks it across their nose and dies, I can get sued. Scotch can get sued. Everybody can get sued, like all the way up the chain. So Amazon recommend that you have product liability to cover yourself as a retailer. It's kind of interesting. They say if you look at this, the policy, it kind of implies that you need it as soon as you become a pro merchant. That's what it says in their policy. When you talk to seller support, they send you a whole thing that says, no, you only need it when you sell $10,000 for 3 consecutive months. So they do contradict themselves. I would get it in writing from Amazon, what you need. If you are at all concerned about the insurance you need from Amazon's point of view, ask Amazon. However, if you sell anything online, whether it's on eBay or Amazon or whatever, if you sell a used product on eBay and someone sticks it over their face, you can still get sued. So there's always going to be risk with selling online. So you need to talk to an insurer, and you need product liability to cover yourself. That's great, James. James is talking. I've actually contacted that lawyer myself, James. I'm hoping she might talk to me as well. But yeah, you can get sued if you sell anything online. So you kind of have to balance out your risks and your benefits. And there is a risk to selling anything online. But I feel that by doing this, I have kind of minimized my risks, that I don't need manufacturer's insurance. Because here's the thing, you can get retail insurance, product liability insurance. As far as I can tell, it's about $500 a year. And actually, it's almost impossible to get product liability insurance for used products. So if you're selling used products on eBay, you're taking a risk and you probably can't cover it. So we're kind of all taking a risk anyway by selling on eBay, by selling used products on Amazon. But if you're serious about your business, definitely start looking at product liability insurance. It's about $500 a year. Jennifer's saying it, you can't get manufacturer's insurance. It's going to be, okay, liability insurance. It's, if you are the manufacturer, you're taking on a very big risk. So the point of this is not to be the manufacturer. If you have someone else listed as the manufacturer, in my view, that comes more into acceptable risk. And that's kind of where we're at with this. What to you is an acceptable risk? And honestly, selling anything online comes with some level of risk, but you want to minimize your risks. So that's what I'm trying to say here. I'm not an insurer. I don't have any, I can't give any legal or insurance or financial advice. But my understanding is if you're not the manufacturer, you're minimizing your risk. And pretty much this is the same as selling it as long as if it had someone else's label on. Okay, so true private label. Yeah. So, okay, let's move on from insurance. And I'm not minimizing insurance. I'm not playing down insurance. I'm just talking about it really depends on, it really depends on who the manufacturer is. They claim liability for this and they've put their name on it. I am not the manufacturer of this coffee. I've branded it. I don't think it really matters at this point whether I think it's fine if we say I branded it and it has my name on it, but I am not the manufacturer. So, okay, where are we at with this? Are we going on with this somewhere else? Sorry guys, I am super hot in here. I'm like dying in here. Okay. So then they sent out the coffee. Yay. And let me see if I can show you. Oh, yeah, I've got a blank one here. So what I was going to say, you can't do food. You just can't make food yourself in your kitchen. And I feel this kind of goes without saying. You can't just make food in your kitchen and sell it because it has to go through the FDA. And that's a huge process. You need like you need like a business kitchen, you need inspections. And there is a guy in treasure hunting called Bob Tresca who's making his own popcorn. And he's really interesting. I've kind of talked to him a little bit. But it's a big process to get approved to actually manufacture your own food. So be careful with food, be careful with ingestibles, but it's not insurmountable. So this is what they sent me. They sent me 80 bags like this, like blank, naked bags, with the manufacturer on the bottom in the blank bags. But hey, look, they've got the little organic label and they have the fair trade label. Cool. So what did we do with those? Well, then Isaac came up with the design for these labels. Hey, check it out. Whoa, someone's just put a huge recipe. I don't know what that is, but that's cool. Here is the labels that we came up with, or here's one label. And these are just on Avery. We got Avery template 5164. And those, oh, it's cool, Brian. We'll all make the tequila. It sounds good. And we just literally stuck these labels onto the coffee there. So we were very careful to get the labels that fit and stick those on the coffee. Then I thought about it a bit more, and I was looking at this coffee, and I'm like, I don't know how to price it. So it cost $7, and my plan was to ship it first class. And I undercharge for shipping. I only charge $1.95 for shipping, but actually it costs nearer $3 for shipping first class, which is fine. It's kind of one of those things with pricing that you don't want people to feel that the shipping is so high that it becomes insurmountable. Like, I feel that people look at both the price of the product and the price of the shipping. So if they look at the product and they go, wait, $15 for coffee? That's expensive. But if they look at it and go, $13.99 for coffee, that's okay, and $1.95 shipping, well, that makes sense. It's kind of like a psychology thing. Either way, it doesn't matter because you have to cover the cost of the shipping. But that was the way I decided to price it. And also, I wanted to do something kind of positive with this. So I talked to Deanna, who, I don't know, you might remember I did a treasure hunting with Deanna. And I talked to her on my Skycast about her group, Global Tech Women. And she put me in touch with Techbridge. And Isaac and I were really brainstorming, like, what kind of charity do we want to help? Like, I want to do something good with this coffee. And my whole point with this coffee was not to make a profit. I wasn't doing this to make money for me. If I was doing this to make money, I would have done something different. I wouldn't have put Katharyne's treasure blend on it. I probably would have done something like buy one of the gimmicky flavor blends, like the coconut one, and call it tiki coffee, and just target it at people that love tikis and Hawaii and coconut. And if I was just trying to sell it as a product that makes a lot of money, that's probably the direction I would have gone. But because this was kind of part of my personal brand, I wanted to have the fair trade, I wanted to have the organic, and I wanted to do something positive with it and do something helpful with it. So Deanna put me in touch with Techbridge Girls, and I thought they were really cool. I looked at what they do, and they help girls from underprivileged communities go and get experiences, get opportunities in technology. And I thought that was really, really cool. So I got talking to them, and I asked their permission to use their name and to send them a donation. And I actually just paid straight up for all the coffee and said, here you go, this is my donation from the coffee. And so I did it kind of proactively. Instead of like each time I got a sale, I sent them $2. I paid them for the whole batch of coffee straight off. So I sent them a big donation, and I talked to them, and we're planning an interview actually. So I'm hoping to learn more about them and actually share more about them, because I'm really excited about what they do. I think they're a really cool organization, but they're super busy, so they're kind of hard to pin down, but they've promised me an interview. So we should be learning more about them, which is cool. So I'm selling the coffee for $13.99. It costs me about, I think it's $2.97 to ship off the top of my head. So we're down to about $10.99. Then I give $2 to Techbridge. So we're down to, oh gosh, I was doing this in my head. So we're down to $10.99, take away 2, so we're down to $8.99. So pretty much the coffee was $7.05 a bag. So I have about $2, then take away the envelope cost. I'm only making like maybe $1.70 off each bag. Like, it's a very small profit margin. I didn't do this to make a profit. This was kind of my proof of concept. I'm sorry, Helen, but we can work on that. But if I was doing this to make a profit, I would have bought a cheaper product. I would have bought a cheaper coffee, probably. Or I may have bought the organic fair trade and targeted it at a very different audience. I may have called it, like, I don't know, yoga mom, and put it in a pink bag and sold it to upper class, like posh mums, and I would have had a different spin on it. But with this, I knew I was going to sell it to my community. Kind of, it's almost like a vanity brand. Isaac, we can do that. There is no stopping us. We can make tiki coffee. We can make yoga mom coffee. There are a lot of options there. And honestly, at $7 for a bag of coffee, you can make a profit. I could have actually, like, if I bought the cheaper coffee, if I bought a cheaper flavored coffee, I could have bought it for more like $5 to $6, and definitely sold that at $12, $13, $14, and made a decent profit on it. But this was a very different, this wasn't a big money-making venture for me, but you actually could make it a good money-making venture. It's just about picking a niche and doing something like that. That's exactly it, Georgia, as well. It's this was a learning experience for me. It was kind of research, and it was kind of something fun to do for treasure hunting, for me, for the community. Okay, Ben's got a really good question there. How long did the whole process take? So I sent my first email to Cara on March the 22nd, I think, and the coffee was shipped. Hold on, I've got this all here. The coffee was shipped on April the 6th, and I received it, I think, about 3 days later. So it took 2 weeks from start to finish, from start to me actually getting the coffee. And the company were awesome. They've actually been checking in with me and saying, "How's the coffee doing? How is it?" They've been really helpful, really friendly, really ready for me to order from them. So a cheaper amounts. Yeah, Jim, I paid $7.05 per bag for this. $7.05 per bag on this, but there were cheaper coffees. So this was the organic fair trade coffee. So this was the most expensive one on the list. There were much cheaper ones, flavored ones. Yes, Cindy, that's a really good question. Do they put an expiration date? Yes, they do. It's printed on the back here. Let me bring up Zoom so I can see what I'm showing you. I don't know if you can see it. It's embossed on the back. So if I was going to sell this on Amazon, I would probably put it in a bag, and I would probably, there it is there. Yeah, it's like stamped on. I would probably put this in a bag and put it in a poly bag and put the sticker on that. Karen, that's another good question. No, I didn't. I actually didn't include the cost of the label. So I say I made about $1.50 on these. When you take off the label is probably about 40 cents, because actually the Avery labels are very expensive. So actually I probably made like $1 on each bag of coffee. As I say, this was absolutely not a money-making venture, and that was why my plan was to give pretty much most of the proceeds to charity, because I really didn't want this to be like, hey, I'm making money by selling coffee to my treasure hunters. I just wanted it to be like an experiment, and something cool and fun to do. And also because I wanted to kind of move into this private label, like experimental arena. So that was my thinking on the whole thing. I may have used a few bags of it myself. I may be drinking it as we speak. It's good coffee. James, yeah, you're right. That's kind of it. I made a little bit of money, like not much money at all, like very little money. But yeah, definitely goodwill, definitely a positive, fun learning experience, and good for the Techbridge, and good for everyone, really. So I think it's been a lot of fun. And here's the thing, I know how to do it now. And I know, so if I took the experience of actually doing this, of getting it created and getting it made, and I merged that with like my marketing experience from bundles and from just selling on Amazon in general, now I have kind of a good idea for how to do it and actually make money from it and make it profitable. And I think there's a lot of people who feel that it's not easy to make it profitable. Oh, talking of my graphic designers, I've got, oh, this is cool. I'm just reading everyone's comments that, Tara says she's got a coffee company that could work with me to do it, to make it fair trade and organic. That's really cool. And people are saying locally. The only thing is, if they are local, make sure they're properly FDA approved, etc. If you're going to sell it on Amazon, you don't really want like Bob in his backyard. I'm not saying this, Tara, because I'm sure your friends are fine. But I did have one friend who said, "Hey, I've got someone who makes it in their back garden," and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think this has like been approved. I don't think this is certified." But if you have access to like professional roasters, I think that's pretty awesome. Cindy, in this case they didn't send me a sample, but I think some manufacturers you can request samples, or I could have actually purchased one, but I was kind of happy to go with it. I'd already seen the other coffee in Marshalls that they made, and I felt they were a pretty decent company, so I skipped on the sample. But next time I probably would order a sample, But actually, I'm really happy with this. I think it tastes really good, so I'm pretty pleased with it. And the lady actually gave me her personal recommendations, so I kind of went with her as well. Because honestly, I drink coffee. I'm just happy with any coffee, so I wasn't even sure that. So I kind of went with her recommendations, and then I was really, really happy with it. So again, like my thing was kind of deliberately not to make money with this. I wanted to look for something positive to do with it. I wanted to kind of give the proceeds away. I didn't want to make money off treasure hunters with this. That was not kind of my plan for this. But I did feel that in the future, that there is sort of scope for me moving in this direction with the private label, with the branding, with courses, with coaching, and I felt it was kind of part of my learning. So I feel it was a really good investment. So it wasn't like I don't want it to be like, oh my god, I lost all this money on coffee and I'm spinning it. That was kind of the plan from the start. That was why I found a charity from the start that I could give the proceeds, or give most of the proceeds to. So that was kind of like a deliberate strategy. It wasn't like, oh crap, what have I done? I've just lost all my money. It was more deliberate than that. Oh, so I've got to share. Isaac made some adverts for me today, but I don't think I'm going to use them. But let me bring up the adverts that Isaac's done for me. So this kind of goes with the sense of community. And he tapped into something I said the other day. Let me bring these up. He tapped into something I was saying, I think in a Skycast, and I was talking about value. And I said, sometimes you think if you spend a lot of money on something, you're getting a lot of value from it. And sometimes it's really not about spending a lot of money. It's like often it's the things you overlook that have the most value. So he came up with two really cool, and then I kind of went on from that, and I said this, which kind of taps into, sorry, I'm bringing up the pictures. And then I said something that kind of taps into the zeitgeist of the reseller community. Hold on, let me bring the other one up. I've got it here. Okay, so these are kind of cool. They've both got the same message. I'm going to share them in 1 second. But these would be really good for advertising on Facebook. Let me share this. Hold on, how do I do a screen share? There we go. Share screen. Okay. Here's one of the adverts that Isaac had that made me laugh. And these are not aimed at any particular person, but there was a lot of discussion about courses and coaching and very expensive investments people were making for their business. And I said, sometimes all you need to do to kind of unblock your mind is to like sit down and have coffee with a friend. And Isaac tapped into that this morning and created these images. So this was one of them, and I thought this was really cool. And then let me share the other one. It says, "Why pay thousands for a coach when you can have coffee with a friend? Blue sky thinking with Katharyne's treasure blend." So it rhymes as well. That was our other thinking with it. And then he came up with another one. I like this one. I love the colors he used. Oh wait, did that show? Can you see the other one? I don't know if that showed up properly. So there should be, is this one sharing? I don't know why I can't see the things that are being shared. Let me do that again. There we go. So yeah, it was the same thing. It was just to sort of kind of say, you can drink coffee and learn a lot just without having to spend any money. Well, except on the coffee, I guess. But also with this, and kind of talking about like personal branding, I guess my current project is the blue sky thing that we're all working on, that we're playing with at the moment. And I was kind of excited about that and the whole concept of blue sky thinking. So we thought that this kind of promoted the coffee, but it used the coffee to sort of promote the blue sky thinking, and the blue sky group as well. So we were kind of just having fun with it. And literally, Isaac came up with this first thing this morning, and he was just working on it this morning. And I was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And then he sent me these, and I thought they were awesome. I thought they were really cool. And I'm going to share with you the group, the website he used. So he actually found the images here. Let me share this with you. He found the images on this website here, on $1 Photo Club, and it's pretty cool. You can go in here, and I think we did coffee 2 people, and we did a search, and and we looked through here to find the images. And what's cool with these is they're $1 an image. Oh, and there's the image we used. And they're $1 an image, and they are like royalty free. So you can use them for whatever projects you want to use them for. So that was kind of a cool tip. I didn't know about $1 Photo Club. So, oh, and Isaac's got says there's a post on his group Viewmasters. If you want to post the link, Isaac, to Viewmasters, that would be pretty awesome. So I've thought about, I'm not going to run adverts on Facebook. Isaac really wanted me to run an advert. He was going, just put it up so people will see the advert. And I said, I'm not running adverts on Facebook because I don't make any money off the coffee. That's kind of the point. I'm just selling the coffee for just to treasure hunters. It's not something I really want to monetize in that way. But that was his thinking. So he did it as if I was going to do a Facebook advert with it. We're actually selling the coffee. Let me bring up the website that we're using to sell the coffee. Let me share this. Here's the website that we're using to sell the coffee. It's just at Katharyne.com coffee. Find treasure every morning, a 10-ounce bag, $13.99, and it's super simple, like super simple. I'm not a big fan of like marketing-y landing pages. And if you've looked at any of my things, I tend to stay away from all the marketing gimmicks, the pop-ups, wait, but if you buy this now, you can also get, and just all of those things. We try and stay away from all of the gimmicky things. And like, oh, and this price is usually this price, but now we're set. I don't want to do that. I like things being kind of clean and transparent. I made a gimmicky advert that was just like, hey, I drink my coffee. And we did some fun things with it, but really, it was kind of all an experiment. But it was cool selling it on our own platform. One thing I learned selling it on my own platform, we used PayPal. We use PayPal for people to buy it. So when you do buy now, it takes you to a PayPal page. And I learned something, and that was I learned about PayPal mass shipping. But what's it called? Batch shipping, I think. I think it's called PayPal batch shipping. And that's a pretty quick, easy way of shipping a bunch of orders at the same time. So if you take a lot of orders on PayPal all at one go, you can do a batch shipment and set up your standard 12-ounce envelope, first class, and just print off a whole bunch of them. And that's a really, really cool technique that I didn't know before I did this. So that was something I learned through doing this. So no, I'm not selling these on Amazon. I probably won't sell them on Amazon. I could. I don't think it's worth it after Amazon fees. If I was doing a different product, if I was doing like the Yoga Mom coffee, or I was doing Tiki coffee or something like that, I absolutely would sell it on Amazon. And I'm pretty certain, given what I know from doing bundles, from what I know selling other products, I'm pretty certain I could make a small profit selling a unique branded US coffee on Amazon, and I would be pretty happy with that. There's a good suggestion there. Yeah, bundle it with a cheaper product to make it worth it. That's another direction to go in. Sell multi-packs of it. Sell it with a mug. Sell a gift pack. There's a lot of ways you can go with this. I mean, actually, $6 for a bag of coffee. This was $7, but $6 for a bag of coffee is a really good deal. So if you were if you had a bundle in mind, or you had something in mind that you really wanted to sell coffee in, buying 80 bags for $500 really isn't, it's not a bad deal at all, and it'll be less than that if you buy the cheaper coffee. So I think there's a lot of potential in this. It's kind of a proof of concept. There are a lot of things that you can label like this in the US. It's pretty exciting. I just want to get people excited about what you can do without getting too stressed out, without panicking, without. There seem like a lot of roadblocks. It feels like there's a lot of roadblocks to getting going with private label, with branding, with producing your own products, and I don't think there needs to be. Yes, like there are always risks with selling online. Yes, you should always talk to an accountant, a lawyer, insurer, kind of know where you're at in your business. But as private labeling goes, if you work with the manufacturer, if they have their name on your product, my personal feeling is that that's a very acceptable risk. So I think this is all about positivity. And that's kind of where I'm going with Blue Sky, with the group. I want people to kind of stop being afraid. Like, yes, you've got to come back and make sure you've dotted all your I's and crossed all your T's. But in the first instance, stop being afraid and think about what you'd love to do. Do you want to make a game? Do you want to make a toy? Do you want to make pet products? Do you want to make, there's so many directions you can go in. I want to cover a lot of other things as we move through doing Blue Sky. People have asked about publishing. I know James and some other people are interested in publishing and self-publishing. And that's definitely something I'd like to cover. I've done Kindle publishing, and I'm kind of working with CreateSpace at the moment. Both Amazon publishing websites, I guess, and methods. So I do want to deal with self-publishing. I'm also interested in things like printing, embossing, or embroidery. There are a lot of ways. There are a lot of ways of doing things. I don't know, I've been looking at things like you can print your own mugs and shirts, and there's a lot of ways that you can do things, and it's getting pretty exciting. I think in 2015 we have more options than ever before. We have more options to create products, and we have a lot of platforms to sell products. We're not stuck with Amazon. And I feel at the moment retail arbitrage is kind of getting scarier. We know that there are new crackdowns on getting approved in the categories that were previously easy to get approved in. We know that Amazon is starting to look more closely at groceries, at health, at beauty. And we know that manufacturers are getting more pushy about their products being sold on Amazon. So I do think that private label is kind of a good direction to start thinking about if you sell online. I think it's becoming it's becoming an easier step than it was at one point. I feel that the barriers are coming down, whereas I feel like there are barriers going up with a lot of retail arbitrage and thrifting. So that's kind of where I'm at and what I'm thinking. Blue Sky's definitely experimental. I don't really know what the future is of the group, whether we're going to stay free, whether we will have a small charge, what the format of the group is. I love where it's at the moment. I don't really want to change anything right now because I love what everyone's doing. Everyone's brainstorming, coming up with ideas. And I love seeing people say, this is my Blue Sky dream. This is my Blue Sky thought and goal. This is what I want to do. And then seeing everyone else jump in and help, like, oh, hey, I know how to do this. I know someone that can do this. And I want to get rid of that fear because, I mean, you look at Etsy, people are selling handmade stuff on Etsy all the time and not freaking out about being sued over it. I think a lot of fear has been created around Amazon, a lot of fear. And I kind of want to work with that. And if we can figure out what the fear is, where the roadblocks are, and work on how we can deal with those. And I'm really looking forward to seeing James's interview with Gina, the lawyer. I've heard really good things about her, so I'm interested in seeing that, and whether she has anything to say on that. But in the future, as we grow, and as we do Inspire, Grow, Create, which ultimately I hope will be a sort of comprehensive program based off this, once I've done more research, once we've learned a lot more, I think I would like to very much get input from like legal professionals, insurance professionals, and really find out more about those things. But I think the first step, get inspired, get positive about it, have a can-do attitude, and look at what's possible. And don't look for excuses and reasons and blocks, because once we identify those blocks, we can work on removing them. People sell on Etsy. People have been selling on eBay. People have been selling on Amazon. We can keep this going. We can grow this. There are a lot of possibilities that we can follow here. And I think it's a very exciting world right now. Facebook's becoming a great platform to sell on. Google, oh my gosh, when Google get that buy button, that's going to become an exciting place to sell. And the great thing is, if you know how to sell, you know how to sell. Once you've learned about niches, once you've learned about markets, once you've got an idea on products, those are transferable skills. And I want to get rid of everyone's fear. I want to think positively, think constructively, be realistic. I don't want to say, no, it's fine, no, and throw caution to the wind. I never say that. I do think you should do everything right. But at the same time, let's manage the risks and work on and find a good way of doing things. Okay, I've talked for an hour. If anyone's got any quick questions, I'll happily answer a quick question. I love the blue sky coffee. That could be pretty cool. But in the meantime, I would like to say thank you all very, very much for coming and hanging out with me. I've enjoyed talking to you all. You're awesome. I love you guys. You always make me super happy. I really hope this has been helpful. I hope it's been enlightening. I really hope I was transparent. I've tried to tell you all the costs and everything involved in this. If there's anything else you want to know, just send me a message. I'm always happy to answer messages. I do get a lot of them, but I try and get to you. Have a great week, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Love you all. This will be archived. We'll put it up on the Sky website. All right. Have a great one. Bye.